Welcome to Tactical Reviews and a first look at the new Fenix PD32 V2. And what we'll do is we'll take a detailed look around the light first of all, and then a short technical rundown, and the more detailed runtimes and output testing will be available on tacticalreviews.co.uk. So please go and check out all the rest of that information there. So the PD32 V2, I think the original PD32 went out of production several years ago, so this is a revamp of that model number. It's a single 18650 tail operated light. So the model I've got in my hands here, this is as supplied. It was a final production model but without the packaging. So it doesn't have a built-in USB charger. Instead, the cell that this one has got with it is a micro USB, so not the USB-C that's becoming more common, but micro USB. In fact, while that's out, let's see if we can just see inside with the camera. So there's a physical reverse polarity protection, the two pads that are either side of the central contact. It's the tail that unscrews, although it looks like it must have been thread locked in there because the head doesn't come off easily. And a spring contact inside the tail. Have a little look inside the smooth reflector, the LED. Streamlined head with just a small anti-roll feature. And of course the clip, which would also prevent it rolling. The tail cap has a cutout, so with the two proud sections it will tail stand, and the cutout then gives easier access to the button, because if you're having to go over the top of them it can get a little bit awkward. User interface on this is extremely simple, but interesting, as Fenix now are implementing a two-stage tail switch. So if we just go halfway, we get momentary. Doesn't matter how many times we flash that, it's not going to go to a strobe mode. And then a little bit further, let's just turn that to low, and it will latch. So it doesn't click like a typical latching tail switch, it's just a further stage of the switch. Now, once it's latched on, that first half press that gives you the momentary on now changes mode, and it will remember the last used mode. So full press to off, half press and remembering the low mode in this case, full press and it's steady on. So we're doing that with our thumb. Half press, full press, half press mode change, full press off, and that's a quick run over this light. So I'm now going to get some basic measuring equipment and we'll just go through some simple parameters. And now for a quick look over some basic specifications of the Fenix PD32. Start with the weight, with an 18650 already fitted, 132.3, and we'll just quickly do that without a cell, so you can see if you were used CR123s it would be lighter. So on its own, it's just over 82 grams. So the maximum head diameter is 26.5 millimeters, and the light itself overall length is 130 millimeters. So the next part we're going to look at here relates to the tail switch. Now, being a two-stage switch, it's quite likely that this is an electronic switch rather than a mechanical switch, and what that means is that there will be parasitic drain, constant drain on the battery to power the switch circuitry. So first part of checking this is to measure the resistance. You can see here, if I short the probes, we get the number of ohms, and on a clicky tail switch, the mechanical switch, if we connect it to the terminals in the switch and operate it, we should see resistance go to a very low level. So that's a full click and there's no change at all, which means that this section must have an electronic switching circuit inside. So first of all, on the meter I'm looking for amps, and I'm going to pick the least sensitive. In fact, no, I don't expect it to need that, so I'm in the milliamp range, and what I need to do is a bit of juggling with connections. I'm going to use this little jumper to connect from the negative in the switch to the negative of the battery. And while I hold that, I need to contact the other terminal in the switch. This is always extremely fiddly. Make the contact. So we can see immediately it jumped into action and it's showing us 0.03. That's in milliamps. So I'm now going to go to microamps quickly because the circuit is still charged. And when we get nothing, it usually means I've slipped with the connections. So it went into overload mode just briefly because it went above the maximum for this range, but now it's settling down. That means I've slipped again. Not having much luck on this one. That's better. So what you can see here is the parasitic drain, the current that's drawn from the battery all the time regardless of whether you're using it just to power the switch. I am the one that is creating the inconsistency here when I manage to keep it steady. So we're getting about 32 microamps all the time, whether you use it or not. The full review will have the calculation of how long that would take to actually drain the battery. In the microamp range like that, it's more than likely not enough to drain any faster than the cell is self-draining. Thank you for joining me in that first look at the Fenix PD32 V2, and remember, get informed, be prepared, stay sharp.